2024 is looking like an awesome year for MTG Arena, and we know a lot more about it thanks to a panel at GenCon where they talked about the future of the game, including future sets, future features, and future quality of life changes. Let's break down all of it so you know exactly what's coming up in MTG Arena. The first thing we're going to talk about is format support. The biggest announcement, in my opinion, to come out of the entire thing was that by the end of 2024, they want to have Tournament Pioneer on MTG Arena. Now, that doesn't mean that they're planning on having every card that's legal in Pioneer on Arena. It means that the meta for Pioneer and Explorer should eventually become the same because all of the cards played at the highest level will be in both spots. They'll then continue to add fringe strategies through anthologies. Now, there's a couple ways that they're planning on getting there, including a set that's actually coming in 2023, that being Cons of Tarkir. And that leads me perfectly into the next category, which is going to be new sets. The first one we're going to talk about is Cons of Tarkir, which very importantly isn't a remastered set. They announced that they are going to kind of lay off the remastered sets and they are bringing the full-fat Cons of Tarkir set to Arena. That means they're not curating cards from multiple sets and condensing it down. It means every card that's in Cons of Tarkir will be in the set, and the draft and limited environment will be the same as it was when Cons of Tarkir came out. It'll be interesting to see what powerful cards will make it to both Historic and Explorer, and it'll be interesting to see if they allow fetch lands to remain legal in Historic. After that, they announced a brand new set called Pioneer Masters, and this may not sound new because they actually announced it a couple years ago and then canceled it and then kind of brought it back and then canceled it again. But now it's back, and it means that this should be the final set that helps turn Explorer into actual Pioneer. It will be its own set, so you can draft it, and it should be a fun, limited environment, but this will bring a lot of the needed cards that are the powerful, top of the metagame cards in Pioneer into the Explorer format, and will also bring them into Historic to amp up that format as well. But beyond sets, they also talked about a couple other features that are coming to the game. Features are the things that I actually think are the most exciting because they're not just, more cards to add to your collection. They're things that change the way you play the game. And so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly because they have a lot of them with very few details on each, but they're all pretty exciting. First off, they are doing improved duplicate protection coming with Wilds of Eldraine to help with cards that get reprinted constantly. They used Duress as the example, but it should hopefully mean that you get less duplicates of cards you already have. On top of that, they said they're working on an achievement system to try and help bolster Magic in a way where it's not just focusing on wins and losses, but on doing things and having fun, which I think is really great because right now MTG Arena has the issue of really only caring about wins. And so if there's an achievement system that maybe even gets you some rewards, it then encourages you to have a little bit more fun with it and not take it so seriously, which I think is really good for Magic. Now, the most exciting feature, the thing that I think is going to be the coolest, is that they want to make a more unified paper and digital experience. The example they gave is that they want you to be able to go to your LGS, play at Friday Night Magic, and then when you log on to Arena the next time, you'll get Mastery XP to help you progress on your Mastery Pass. This is really awesome, and I hope we see more, buy a booster pack in paper, get one in digital, go to a paper event, get digital currency, do a digital event, maybe get some sort of physical perk. And I think having the two systems work together is what will make both of them stronger, because it means the people who play paper are incentivized to go digital, and the people who play digital are incentivized to go paper, which just makes Magic even stronger. They also announced a couple other things, Universes Beyond Fallout isn't going to be on Arena, but there will be cosmetics for it to help celebrate it. Modern Horizons 3 is coming to Arena. The Assassin's Creed set may be coming to Arena. Final Fantasy is coming to Arena, so on and so forth. But we're not really going to talk about those. Instead, we're going to talk about what they talked about as their long-term goals. And the big thing I really took away from it is that they don't have any set in stone. When they talked about their long-term roadmap, they didn't say, we're planning on doing this, we're planning on doing this. They asked a bunch of questions. They asked questions like, how do we make Arena more than just a 1v1 competitive gameplay system? But they didn't just ask questions, they gave some answers, and it kind of gives insight into what they're thinking. They talked about wanting a mode that isn't necessarily 1v1 against another player, and they made that another player really key. I think they're going to be working on expanding the AI and potentially doing some more solo mode content similar to what Hearthstone does. In Hearthstone, they have modes where you are slowly building up your deck going on this adventure. You get emblem-like effects that alter your deck in different ways, and each opponent you face has a different unique ability and playstyle and character, and I think Magic could do a version of it that's really cool. Obviously, I'd want it to be a little different, but I think a solo experience for Magic could be really, really fun. However, they also expanded upon this. They said they didn't want Magic Arena to just be a 1v1 competitive environment. Well, what's one other way you can change that? Well, you can change that 1v1 1v1 aspect, and they said they're in talks about how they can add that third player, that fourth player, and really just add multiplayer to MTG Arena. Now you have to consider, at this point we're talking about 2025, 2026, so it's not anything that I would expect next year or really anytime soon, but it's really good that they are at least having those talks. So let's see what we've talked about. Pioneer should be fully here by 2024, at least in a tournament sense. We're getting Cons of Tarkir and Pioneer Masters. They are in talks to have achievement systems and better duplicate protection, along with talks about a more single player or less competitive experience, as well as maybe breaking beyond 1v1. However, they've also talked about a little bit more, and there's actually been certain surveys that have gone out that have talked about moving beyond Pioneer into Modern. Now, obviously, they're adding Modern Horizons 3 to Arena. I assume this is going to take this place of Lord of the Rings this year, but for next year. However, they did say that Modern is not coming to Arena. Now, I will note that in a survey they sent out to players, they asked what do they want to see. Like, they asked players, you know, which of these features, which of these things do you want to see come to Arena? And Modern support was one of the things you could check. So it's at least something they are considering. Along with that, there were things like deck sharing and more than 1v1 game modes. There were a lot of features in there, and it looks like they are at least considering a decent number of them. So once we hit this, you know, tournament level Pioneer, where is Magic going to go with the card set? Are they just going to focus on working on standard products and, you know, the occasional supplemental product, or are they going to keep going back further? Personally, I really hope they keep going back further. I would love if Arena eventually one day had every card in Magic, as long as that would take. I think that could be really, really fun and let you have your older formats, but I'm not sure. Do you guys want that, or do you want them to focus more on getting every card from new sets? For example, we don't really get the Commander cards from each set that comes out. Would you want to see those on Arena? I think it'd be great. Sometimes there's a Commander card that I think would be an awesome Brawl Commander, or would just be really fun in a certain deck in Historic, and it would be really cool if they were adding those as well. The final major thing they talked about is the fact that MTG Arena is turning 5 this September with the launch of Wilds of Eldraine, so we should be expecting some sort of event, some sort of celebration. I'm hoping some amount of free rewards that come alongside renewal, which will be happening this September as well. They said they have some surprises that are up their sleeves, so I really hope we see some sort of quality of life improvement on top of those collection improvements that should help with duplicate protection. Overall, it looks like it's a really exciting time to be a MTG Arena player. For a while, I really felt like MTG Arena was just trying to coast. You know, they had implemented player drafting with Ikoria where it wasn't bot drafting, and it really just felt like they were just adding cards, and that's all they were doing. They weren't trying to add features. But the fact that they're having these talks, they are talking about integrating the paper game and Arena more. They are talking about adding more than 1v1 support. They're talking about formats beyond Pioneer. Is really, really exciting. I want Arena to be the best way to play Magic digitally, but right now I can't say that. It doesn't have all the formats and all the features of Magic Online, but I wanted to at least make sure that they are working towards that. As much as I have my issues with Arena, it is a much better platform than Magic Online, and I really want to see it do well. Alrighty guys, that is pretty much it for this video. What do you guys think about the future of MTG Arena? Are there any features they really didn't highlight that you want added to the game? Or are any of these features really, really exciting for you? Leave those in the comments down below. And if you want to see more content from yesterday's panel, check out this video where I talk about 19 sets that they announced, and that doesn't even include the Arena ones. Or check out this video where I talk about the Commander Masters colorless precon, my thoughts on it, and how you can upgrade it. Alrighty guys, I'll see you on the next one.